Well, damn it. Guess I'm not done talking, but I'm not gonna spend 40 minutes because this tape is gonna be, it's 41 minute tape. But I did want to just finish up with a few things. I know that locally here in Chico, this is Butte County, Northern California, we had this Oroville Dam. And I said in one video a couple weeks back that I would go out there if I could, but sure enough, it was closed to the public, so I couldn't get up there to get any video. They'll let the mainstream, the fake stream media up there, with their pass, but I'm not going to try to get past the Highway Patrol and the workmen, okay, and or even try to ask permission as a citizen journalist. But I do want to get up to Shasta Lake again and have a look. It's such a beautiful place, and I'll catch some video of that if I get up there in the next week or so, hopefully, but we'll see. I want to point out just that the entire system is rife with fraud, that we're fighting the money masters who have the copyright to this power to buy up everything in the world, all the goods and services in perpetuity. These are, the fake stream media will divert your attention to the multi-billionaires, but they won't talk about these infinite heirs, because that's what they are, okay? Forget trillionaires. If you own the literal copyright to the money, okay, there's no way you could put a dollar figure, a number on your worth. You are, for all intents and purposes, an infinite heir. Okay, that's what it is. This is satanic. This is that same spirit when Jesus walked the earth and the devil said, look, bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all this splendor. And Jesus says, no way. You know what? I mean, you can make these stones turn to bread. You're the Son of God. Do these things. And Jesus said, look, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. So Jesus was tuned directly into that truth of what the Father is like, that character, that nature, that personality, that, he embraced it completely. He was as good a reflection as we're ever going to see because he didn't have a natural born dad. And that is the guy that we are to emulate and imitate, a guy that has only one God, the divine, almighty creator God is his Father, and that should be our only Father too, only true Father. I mean, Jesus said, call no man father except he who is in heaven. So even our natural parent we should call a dad, because it's not really your father. But I mean, people do. I'm sure it's a forgivable sin because people are using it in an innocent way. It's not like they're challenging the true Father of all creation by saying that. I know, but you understand how easy it is to slip up with our tongues in having the right perception on all this stuff. But we really do have to know just that the whole system is fraudulent. It is a scheme, a scam of biblical proportions. And in order to extricate ourselves, the first step is understanding that reality and facing it. And it is traumatic to really think that these very powerful forces are working against us. They do not want humanity to solve their problems. They do not want us out of poverty. It is absolutely imperative to their survival, to their very existence, that they continue with the poverty, because this is how they get the oppression. This is how they get, this is where their power resides. This is it. This is where their relevance lies. And it's a satanic power, whether they're aware of it or not. And a lot of them are. A lot of them are very cognizant of the fact that, this is the way it is. And they choose it. They choose the darkness over light because it's the easier path in their minds. Trickery, deceit, sorcery. Being diabolical, sinister, and cunning. Embracing these things. Being surreptitious, underhanded. And that's the way the world has been run for a long, long time. And they want to continue in that path. And we, the people, have to start getting, the serious of it. Say, look, it's affecting me. You cannot separate yourself. You cannot divorce yourself from the Spirit of truth. And the Spirit of truth is like your conscience. It keeps drawing you and pulling you to binding the wound on humanity, the collective body, to give a damn about the least of these. And understand that's where your security lies. That's your way out of fear. Okay, you want less crime. You don't want to worry about getting carjacked or mugged or your house getting broken into. This is the way out, man. This is the way out of stuff that I haven't even thought of. It's causing trouble. Like the study that showed rapes were up because of poverty. I wonder if pedophilia is connected. We all know they're selling these children the right price, right? Will get you anything in this world. That's sick, man. This is sick and perverted. The abortions. You want to see a reduction in those? All these problems we have, every single one of them, all these vices, these forms of escapism and addictions people are entrenched in. Why do they need this escapism? What's bugging them? Well, I'm here to tell you it's the same thing I'm talking about here. It's the conscience. It's the spirit of truth that's drawn us in. It's your compunction, your instinctual compunction to be a holy human being. Not religious, but just to be a good and decent, upright person. That's literally what these people are fighting against. The evil people are fighting against the good people. It's good versus bad. That's it. And the really bad ones know it, okay? And those that are just working for the bad, God help them to see the light and to not be so afraid as to be cowards and to chicken out. To say, they've hitched their wagon to bad people and they've got to jump ship. They've got to do that repent or perish thing. Jump to the side of light. And, denying this instinct is like denying or ignoring conscience. Denying instinct, okay, is like denying or ignoring your very conscience. And that is the godly instinct I'm talking about. And denying the conscience is like denying or ignoring your instincts. And you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be satisfied. You're not going to be content. You're not going to be happy. And you're going to have nothing good of value, of true value to give other people unless you understand the implications. Please understand what we're talking about here. Our very salvation is at stake. Where we go from here. Okay, basically that's it. And if you want to avoid where is a bad place for a lot of people, all these murderer types that would do anything to keep their high positions and places, those are the types I'm talking about here. There's a silent, unspoken, non-compete clause within special interest groups. Yeah, a silent, non-compete clause within special interest groups. Open collusion between and within special interest groups may give at least an appearance of impropriety. However, if it's silent, this is what crony capitalism, this is why I say, the communists, at least they're open about their beliefs. Yeah, I'm a socialist. I believe in taking from the haves and giving to the have-nots. So what of it? I'm the People's Party. I'm the people's philosophy, communism, socialism, liberalism, Democrat, this is their beliefs, right? The People's Party. Well, you understand how this thing works? It doesn't work, okay? And it's not meant to work. So they've got to be sneaky, though. These crony capitalists are very sneaky. They make you think, oh, no, what's wrong? There must be something wrong with you if you can't succeed. They call it capitalism. And that if you're anti-capitalist, you're un-American. So these communists, a good communist says, well, wait a minute. I know I'm not. I'm blue collar. I'm for the people. I want to end poverty. Power to the people and all that stuff. So you see where Satan is in the mix. The devil is in the details. And we got to figure this out. And that if we really care to bring people together and to heal this division in America, then we've got to convey these things to other people, impart them, explain to them, and convince them of the truth. If you really behold the truth, then please, all you good communists, explain it. Explain your position to the good capitalists or the crony capitalists out there. And likewise, the good capitalists have to explain that you hate crony capitalism worse than they do because it's besmirching the name of good capitalism, which creates this egalitarian state of rising tide of prosperity across the board. And how that works, explain to them supply and demand, free market enterprise principles. And how this works and how this does it just naturally without being forced, without the government intervening and subsidizing and all this crap that just makes things worse and exacerbates the problems. Explain that to them. Explain what I do about Section 8 and how that exacerbates things. And how if they pulled that huge boondoggle to the people, to the taxpayers, utter failure, that it would cause housing prices to plummet overnight. How that would happen. Why that would happen? Because that's a subsidy. So of course it would collapse housing prices overnight. But in order to solve problems, we've got to confront these things. We cannot extricate ourselves until we confront these things. But, it's very hard to be honest when our own selective special interest group is involved. We find a way to rationalize things. And God knows this is true. And this is wrong. This is evil lurking within us. And we're not going to be able to explain the psychobabble in our own heads. We're not going to be able to stand before God one-on-one and explain our belief system in any kind of cogent, meaningful, coherent way that's going to fly. It's not going to work. So think through that you can stand by your belief system, that it's based on the rock of your salvation, on the teachings of Jesus Christ, that you really are living by the golden rule, and you love God above all else. Okay, that is the first and foremost commandment. You thank God for everything. God owns everything, like I've already gone into in great detail. Rightfully so. He's the sovereign. That owns your very heart, soul, spirit, mind, and body. Okay? And so this is what we've got to fundamentally understand, is that this is the only real, true, worthy paradigm to behold. And we've got to be honest and admit that, look, I'm involved in an industry that would go away if there was no poverty or we didn't have problems on earth. Even if you're in the media and you say, well, if there's nothing sensational to talk about, well, talk about special interest stuff. Like, what's his name's The Great America Show or Cesar Millan. There's always interesting stuff to have shows about, radio or television shows, internet shows. Always going to be. So people can't worry about their jobs being at stake if problems start getting solved. We can't do that. We can't. That's evil. We can't stand beside those beliefs. They don't hold water. They don't fly. So get logical belief system based on logic and math, stuff that God can sink his teeth into and say, okay, you've been found worthy and deserving to inherit a better world. You're ready for paradise to be established on earth, because that's what's coming in the new age. That is the renewal of all things, all that, the freedom for the captive. What makes him captive? It's this monetary based on reality. It's Satan at the helm. Like Jesus spelled it out, the prince of this world, of darkness of this world. It is Satan. And these money lovers, the money masters at the very top, they are representatives thereof, doing his bidding. And it's evil, and it's got to come to an end. And it's no fun exposing these people, but it must be done. It's a commission out of the Bible. It's a compulsion for any decent, righteous person. You've got to speak out against these people. Imagine the New World Order elitist cabal being so miserable that they can't tolerate us just enjoying our stinking little lives. That's what it comes down to. I just want to enjoy my stinking little life. I'm happy to serve humanity. But they won't allow that. They cannot allow that. Our problems stem from on high. People always get away with whatever they can, moral or not, because that's it. The spirit of Satan, the spirit of fear through the monetary industry, but through this monetary reality, this paradigm, this unreality that's been shoved down our throats. Your local banker, yeah, he's going to, whatever they say, if they say I'm insured to make this reckless loan, I'm going to do it. That should be a given, an assumption. This is why, the local banker, the local politicians, the local law enforcement and authorities are least culpable, the least to be blamed in this thing. Though we're all still part of the human race, and we should give a damn, profoundly give a damn about the least of men, because that's Jesus. We still got to target the right entity, the causers, the root of the problem, and it is these money masters. So before we start blaming your next door neighbor or anybody else I just mentioned, always consider that to judge correctly, at least be discerning in a proper manner and blame the right causers so we can extricate ourselves. We've got to understand the problems and be empowered to do it, and stop tolerating, stop accepting this oppression, this tyranny through poverty, ever increasing wealth and income disparity. Any worthy definition of the term tax must include the cost of living. People got to understand that. The cost of living is a tax. If we're not talking about luxury items, we're talking about essential human needs. We just care about food, shelter, water, energy costs, and that's it. Because if you want to tax the crap out of the high-end stuff, that's a whole nother, that's apples and oranges here, okay? But what I'm concerned about is the stuff we can't get away from. That's what I'm talking about. And that stuff you want dirt cheap. You want your basic essential human needs to have the lowest tax possible. That's what I'm talking about here. Neglect is a distinct type of abuse, of persecution. That's right, you're running people off the land without telling them where they can go. Well, where can I go? And I want somewhere where I can stay put. Like in the Great Depression and the Hoovervilles and all this. Like a criminal in his cell can put his crap down and be reasonably sure it's still going to be there tomorrow. But the system tells us no, conform or perish.